and welcome to episode 1 of Backyard Bushcraft with the Bushcraft Company. Myself, Chris, and Kyle here, we're going to be taking you through various different fire lighting techniques today, right up to building our own fire. We've got plenty of different ways that we're going to get our ignition, but first of all, let's talk a little science. A fire needs 3 things to survive. We call this the fire triangle. Each one of these parts of the triangle represents something different: heat, fuel, and oxygen. In a woodland environment, we've got plenty of oxygen. We've also got plenty of fuel, being the wood that we can burn today. But the hardest part to create is our heat source. Now, luckily, we've got plenty of things today to show you to generate that heat source in the woods.
One thing that represents the fire triangle really well is a lighter. In this, your ignition source, so your heat, is this little flint striker at the top, and the fuel is actually encapsulated inside here is the gas. So you can bring all 3 of these together and the oxygen in the air, and you can create fire. And that is a lighter.
All right, next up, we're going to talk about the one and only mighty safety match. Most people think that when you strike a match, you strike it like this. But then what happens is it breaks and also goes out in the wind. So what I want to do is I want to brace the matchstick with my pointer finger, take my finger and thumb either side to help support the match, and I want to strike it down the edge of the abrasive side of the matchbox. Then cup it in my hands to stop from the wind getting it. So here we go. And then just like that, we've got a lit match. You notice that I'm holding it 45 degrees? That's to allow that fire triangle for the heat to travel up the fuel. Let's see what's next.
All right, Chris, you think that's cool? Check this out. I'm gonna take a standard household battery and some standard household wire wool, and I'm gonna make a little fire from that. So take the wire wool, not the firewall. It's gonna be firewall eventually, and you aerate it. What I'm doing is I'm making sure there's lots of oxygen for that fire triangle. Make a little bit of contact, and it should short circuit, and eventually, when it works, boom. And that's how you make a fire from household items.
Battery and wire wool, that was pretty cool, Kyle, I'm not gonna lie. But check this out. We're gonna make a chemical reaction. Here, I've got potassium permanganate. Hard to say, fun to use. So I'm gonna pour just a little bit and a little bit more on this tree stump. Make sure I close the lid on that. So potassium permanganate, readily available on eBay. This is my secret ingredient, okay? This is glycerin. It's basically sugar and water, and readily available at all your nearest stores, apart from maybe right now because everywhere's a little crazy. So I'm gonna add the 2. I'm gonna take a stick and I'm just gonna gently mix them together. And what's gonna happen is both of these are gonna mix with the oxygen in the air and create what's called an exothermic reaction. And it's going to combust and catch fire. Let's see you top that one, Kyle.
That was pretty awesome, Chris, but I reckon we up the ante. From now on, gotta get all the way to flame. What I'm gonna use now is a magnifying glass and a natural fungus found in the UK called the King Alfred cake. I'm gonna pop that inside a little bit of a tinder bundle, and using the power of the sun, I'm gonna use this magnifying glass to focus the sun's heat right onto this King Alfred cake. Boom, already started smoking. Right, that's nice and going. Let's get this inside our grass bundle, give it some oxygen, remember the fire triangle, and see if we can get it to flame. There you go, all natural, no fancy chemicals here. Let's see what you got next, Chris.
Okay, that was impressive, especially the au naturel method of using just the sun and a fungus. That was pretty cool. Myself though, I prefer the modern day approach, and this is a modern day equivalent of a caveman fire lighting system. Flint and steel, this is the upgrade. I've got cotton wool and Vaseline here. Now Vaseline, the other name for Vaseline being petroleum jelly, You can't spell petroleum without petrol. So petrol and petroleum jelly, nice and easy. I want to strike sparks onto my cotton wool, and there we go. We have flame. But I'm not going to lie, Kyle, I was impressed by your au naturel. So I went ahead and got some silver birch bark, which has highly flammable oils in it, which should be able to catch a spark. So let's see if we can get it on fire. And there you have it. Instead of one flame, we now have two. Back to you, Kyle.
All right, Chris, you want to go old school? Let's go old school. I'm going to show you how you can make an ember or a little coal from friction alone with just some sticks. This is called a bow drill, and it takes a couple of pieces. I've got a half board on the bottom here, I've got a spindle, I've got an ember pan, and I've got a bearing block. Over here is my bow, and what I'm going to do is use all of these elements together to create enough friction to create a little coal that you can then put into some grass to light a fire. If you want to know more about how to do a bow drill, leave a comment below, and maybe we'll do a video with more detail on how to make a set from scratch. Let's give it a go, shall we? Okay, so I've taken my ember and I've slowly put it inside my kindling, and now I'm going to pinch it in between all the grass and I'm going to give it a little bit of oxygen. The more oxygen I give, the harder it burns. Boom, flames. And that's how you make fire, from a couple of sticks.
Fire by friction, I absolutely love it. But a couple of sticks? No. This is a couple of sticks. What we're going to attempt to do is a technique called the hand drill. Same idea, fire by friction. Instead of the mechanical advantage of the bow and the bearing block, we're just going to use our bare hands. Let's get started. Take a minute, catch your breath, and then we'll transfer this ember into our grass. Now we see we've got a nice smoking ember. I'm gonna get my tinder builder ready, transfer this over. And there you have it, hand drilled to flame. Now, we're just gonna get the rest of our fire ready. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get my bundle of twigs ready. These are my matchsticks. I'm gonna place my matchsticks over the fire. Wait for that sweet crackling noise, and then just let my matchsticks drop onto the flame. When I've got my matchsticks ready, what I want to get my finger sticks next. My finger sticks are sticks about the width of your finger, the length of your arm or your forearm. I'm going to get those, I'm going to add those on top. Now we have a very simple rule here. What goes on the fire, stays on the fire. So when a stick gets placed on the fire, we keep it on the fire. And that way we don't burn ourselves by taking anything off. Once I've got my matchsticks added up, I'm going to add my thumbsticks and just get ready to roll and sit here and enjoy my fire. Remember guys, when you are lighting a fire, make sure you've got your parents with you and your parents' permission before you just start lighting a fire anywhere.
Make sure that you have an actual proper spot to light a fire. In a fire pit in your garden, in a fireplace, something like that.
And also when you do light a fire, especially out in an environment like this or in your back garden, make sure you've got a safe way to put it out. A good big bucket of water dumped over the top of a small fire will put it out no problem.
Fires can be tons of fun. as long as you're doing it responsibly and you've got everyone's permission.
That's everything from us. I think it's time to get the kettle on.
Indeed.
But make sure you tune in next time for more backyard bushcraft fun. Thanks for joining us, guys.